There's other issues as well, such as urethritis, which is inflammation of the urethra. The urethra is a little tube that carries urine outside of the body in males and females. And unfortunately, on a lot of bicycle seats, you're putting a lot of pressure right through that area of the pelvis. And so you get a lot of friction in that little tube. It's like you're smushing a little plastic straw every day when you're riding.
And that's not something that you may not necessarily feel that. It's not necessarily painful to crush that, is it? I mean,
most people don't really notice, like, oh, I'm putting too much pressure on my urethra. It's not something you think about all the time. But you might feel like, oh, I got a lot of pressure on the bike today and I'm really uncomfortable, but I want to go and bike again tomorrow. And doing that repeatedly over time can build up and cause issues that you start to notice.
Yeah, so, any of these things I'm going to say over and over is, if you have some sort of issue, don't ignore it. Go to see a medical professional, go to see a bike fitter, and they can help you out with this.
Well, I also want to stress that this doesn't just affect amateurs. It affects the whole spectrum of cyclists, and even pro cyclists deal with these issues, and sometimes it keeps them from riding in races that they need to compete in.
Yeah.
So it's important to try to find ways to avoid these or catch these problems early so you can deal with them. One big issue that got a lot of attention in the media is erectile dysfunction with bicycle seats. And the reason is because the blood supply to the genitals down there is unfortunately in direct contact with the seat, with a lot of seat designs. And there's a few different theories on why seats can cause this issue. To start at the top, straw theory is where you have these arteries that supply blood to that special area. And when you sit on the bicycle seat, those little straws, the arteries, get compressed. And over time, like imagine chewing on a straw, the first time you chew on it, it'll bounce right back. But if you keep on chomping on that or putting pressure through it, eventually it'll turn into an oval or it'll lie flat.
Yeah, sure.
And so if you have a straw like that, it's hard to get any fluid to go through it. And that's what happens. You start getting less blood and less oxygen to those tissues, which are necessary for those parts to function.
And that's when we have sexual dysfunction issues in both men and women, right?
Yeah.
And then, that a lot of women might see this and, well, okay, that just applies to men. How does the similar issue affect women?
Well, women obviously also have the possibility of putting a lot of pressure through their sensitive organs down there, especially because of the shape of their pelvis. And their pelvis is a little wider to allow for childbirth, and their infrapubic angle is a little bit wider as well as a little more rounded. And bottom line is that allows the saddle to press up into the soft tissues a little bit more. So they have a vulvar region, which is the fancy name for the soft tissues down there. And same thing with the males, they end up putting a lot of pressure through that area, which causes tissue breakdown, inflammation, and soreness. And as men can develop strange conditions like accessory testicles that are actually just fluid-filled nodules, women can also develop nodules of inflammation and fluid buildup, which can be extremely distressing and uncomfortable.
Yeah, and all these issues probably are a lot more common than you might think. Like I said, nobody really wants to talk about this stuff, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to make these videos, because it is such an important issue. It's taking care of your body is important. Okay, well, that's it for this video. Those are some of the medical conditions that can be caused by ill-fitting bike and or bicycle seat. And my name is Victor Jimenez from BicycleLab. And
I'm Joshua Cohen with Contact Bicycle.
And thanks for watching, and make sure that you subscribe and check out all our other videos.